MarketSmith India. So yeah, Kush, you can get this recording. You can see this live on YouTube on our channel. Well, guys, will be starting in next 1 minute. So still there are a lot of participants joining in the room. So let's get them all in, and then we can start within a minute. Good evening, SD. Hello, Sridhar. Yes, Pratik, it's uptrend plus choppy. Since this week is really a choppy one, we'll discuss that. No worries. But yeah, it was a very good, bounce from the 200 DMA. Yes, Rishit, we escaped the distribution day due to the volume action. So volume was a bit on the lower side. No, Sridhar, we never had a market status in uptrend without the FTD. Even this time, we have not shifted it to uptrend, but we just turned on the buy switch as the previous rally high was taken. जो 17,000 वाला लेवल था 17,100 वाला उसके ऊपर मार्केट चला गया so that was the reason we started to add stocks. They're also very carefully, right? We were not aggressive in adding the stock. We were waiting for the follow through day. Yes, Amit, I just saw today, I think 0.63 was the advanced decline ratio. So that's the problem. If you might have gone through our daily reports, in the evening report, the daily big picture, we had highlighted this many a times that yes, we are looking for the broader market to, move a bit further. So, okay, let's start with the today's session. And now it's time to pause your questions and the discussion. So we'll continue after next 15 to 20 minutes, but I won't take more than 10-15 minutes. So our head of research, Mayuresh Joshi, is also in the room, and my colleague Rajshekhar has joined the meeting. So let's begin with today's session. Please pause your questions. We'll start it again after the next 10-15 minutes. Okay, so again, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Stock Durbar with Team William O'Neill India. So as you can see in Nifty's chart over here from the 200 DMA, there was a very good rebound, and I think gradually 0.5% to 1%, there was a very good move in the Nifty. Okay, 16,800, 17,000 से rebound होके सीधा 18,000 को क्रॉस कर दिया, and it is very close to its all-time high. In fact, सेंसेक्स तो ऑलरेडी लाइफ टाइम हाई, बैंक निफ्टी भी बना दिया, बट निफ्टी अभी नहीं बना पा रहा है. थोड़ा सा मतलब स्पेशली दिस वीक it looked like, क्योंकि लास्ट फ्राइडे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, sorry, the follow through day that we got on the last Friday, over here you can see there is a huge gap over here, and the volume bar, you can see the volume is also very high. So that was a very good follow through day, and after that you always expect a very good action in the market. But one thing you note for this week is, guys, that the 4 sessions have passed. We have not, there is no major uptrend in this week, but we have not yet breached the follow through day's low. So the follow through day ka low somewhere around 250 hai, 18,250, and we are still holding that low. In fact, we did went higher after in these 4 sessions. So अगर आप follow through day से compare करें तो हाँ, हम लोग अभी ऊपर ही है. आज थोड़ा लास्ट आवर में थोड़ा नॉट इवन द लास्ट आवर, लास्ट हाफ एन आवर में वो एफ&ओ वीकली एक्सपायरी की वजह से थोड़ा वॉलेटिलिटी था, उसकी वजह से मार्केट 350 ब्रीच कर दिया. अदरवाइज यस, द रेंज वाज वेरी स्मॉल, 300 टू 400, 450, एक छोटे दायरे में पूरा वीक निकाल दिया मार्केट. इफ यू लुक एट द यूएस मार्केट ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, द ग्लोबल मार्केट, वहां पे वॉलेटिलिटी ज्यादा है. ठीक है, 1-1.5-2% बढ़ता है, कभी उतना गिरता है, बट ओवरऑल वहां पे भी फॉलो थ्रू डे आ गया है, मार्केट कंफर्म अप ट्रेंड में है वहां के भी, एंड द ट्रेंड इज वेरी गुड इन द ग्लोबल मार्केट एज वेल. सो सम डेटा पॉइंट्स, स्पेशली जो यूएस का सीपीआई आया था, ठीक है, वो एक्सपेक्टेशन से नीचे आया एंड दैट बॉट सम पॉजिटिव होप फॉर द मार्केट कि जल्द से जल्द पीवट आएगा because there were clear comments from the Fed that we will be data driven. अभी 7.7 7.6 ये कोई अच्छा नहीं है, ठीक है, मार्केट के लिए इतना बुलिश होना, बट जो ट्रेंड था वो अभी नीचे जा रहा है सिंस लास्ट अगर 3-4 महीने से इन्फ्लेशन का ट्रेंड नीचे जा रहा है. बट ऑन द फ्लिप साइड अभी आज और कल में वो जो यूके का और यूरो का आया उसमें वो ट्रेंड अभी भी नहीं दिख रहा है. यूके का ऊपर आया एक्सपेक्टेशन सॉरी लास्ट टाइम से. इवन द यूरोजोन का अगर अक्टूबर का देखें समवेयर अराउंड 10 और मोर देन दैट. सो inflation still remains. The geopolitical tensions are still there. It's not like that it's over, but I think everything is gone on a pause about their talks. Even in the US, if you see the inflation is still 7.7 around, and the Fed is committed, to bring it down to 2%, and so they need a lot of hikes. I think there are expectations building up कि अभी भाई वो 75 बिप्स नहीं होगा, 75 बिप्स अभी नहीं होगा. Now the things will come down to 50 bips and gradually हम एक pivot के पास पहुंच जाएंगे. But too early to expect that in the market. So best thing is you have a set of rules. You follow those rules. निफ्टी को देखो, उसके चार्ट को देखो, जो स्टॉक तुम्हारे पोर्टफोलियो में है उसका चार्ट क्या कहता है, उसका प्राइस वॉल्यूम एक्शन क्या कहता है. That becomes very important. So अभी वेबिनार स्टार्ट किया उससे पहले कमेंट्स थी choppy market. So that's what you need to do in the choppy market. So there are a lot of stocks that are giving some quality breakouts. They are moving higher. They are well placed above the key moving averages. Every day you see many stocks moving to their 52-week high, lifetime high. कुछ सेक्टर्स है जहाँ पे अभी भी अच्छा मोमेंटम बिल्टअप हो रहा है. So the focus should be on those areas, right? जो अर्ली स्टेज क्लीन ब्रेकआउट है, ठीक है. अब बेस पैटर्न वी ऑलवेज डिस्कस इन आवर वेबिनार्स अबाउट द बेस पैटर्न. एक कप विथ हैंडल बनाया, अच्छा बनाया है, ठीक है. राइट साइड ऑफ द बेस अगर मान लो तो वहां पे अच्छा एक्यूमुलेशन है, लो वॉल्यूम हैंडल फॉर्मेशन इज देयर एंड व्हेन इट गिव्स अ क्लीन ब्रेकआउट ऑन अ हाई वॉल्यूम. सो आई एम रिपीटिंग इट, हाई वॉल्यूम. Yes, that's the always a time you have the stock in your portfolio. You keep quality stock in your watch list और उस पे फोकस करना important है. चॉपी मार्केट में स्पेशली जब भी मार्केट रेंज बाउंड होता है तब स्टॉक पे फोकस हो जाता है. एंड सो दैट्स हाउ यू नीड टू नेविगेट थ्रू द market. So that becomes very important. So if you look at the Nifty's chart, it is still holding well above its 21 DMA, which is rising upward. 50 DMA भी ऊपर की ओर ही जा रहा है. 21 in fact 18,000 के around 21 DMA निफ्टी का पहुंच गया है. So that's very good. So that becomes the first level of support. एक psychological support भी बनता है 18,000 पे. और ये जो 21 DMA है, which is trending upward, that always provides a good support. On the downside, the first level of support is the follow through day ka low. We always believe that follow through day low is very important. अगर वहां से breach हो गया, then second you need to look for is the 18,000 level, and then comes the red line over here, which is the 50 DMA. That is also trending higher, but I think the first level of consolidation will be this 250 that can hold, and then it comes to 18,000. So it's very clear in Nifty. On the flip side, what we are now looking for is this 18,604 level, जो कि उसका लाइफ टाइम हाई था. अभी वो अक्टूबर में आया था तो 52 वीक हाई तो ये रहा नहीं, ठीक है. 52 वीक हाई अभी 350 पे आ गया है. तो ये लाइफ टाइम हाई है, which is almost just a year and a month ago. So now that should be in the focus as far as the Nifty is concerned. Yes, today the fall was more than 0.2%, but the volume was lower. So volume bar generally gets updated a little late, but if I draw it for you, अभी कल के सेशन से आज कम वॉल्यूम था. इवन yesterday the session the volume was lower. ये पूरा वीक ये लो वॉल्यूम वाला है. So मंडे को थोड़ा वॉलिटिलिटी था और वॉल्यूम रहा था. बाकी अदरवाइज नेक्स्ट 3 सेशंस लो वॉल्यूम वाले हैं एंड कोई मेजर चेंजेस नहीं. Okay, so if we move forward, let's take a couple of sectors. And so banks, so the rally this time was, led by the PSU banks. There are PSU bank देखे, the results were excellent. The multi-quarter high result, जो asset quality का improvement हुआ है, उनका NIM improvement हुआ है, ठीक है, advances में improvement, फिर जो cost, जो उनके लिए जो cost होता है वो कम हुआ है, तो margin expansion, तो profitability, PSU बैंक जनरली लोग देखते थे कि भाई कितना लॉस है. एक टाइम था, मतलब बहुत टाइम पहले नहीं, बस 2-3 साल पहले, कि भाई ये कितना लॉस करेगा, इसको कितना रिकैपिटलाइजेशन चाहिए होगा इस बजट में. सो दैट वाज ऑलवेज द फोकस व्हेन द PSU नेम्स वर बीइंग डिस्कस्ड. But now the case has changed a bit. Now the focus is on the profitability. What is the growth? Right, privatization का टॉक होता है कई बैंक्स पे, ठीक है, बैलेंस शीट पे बात होती है, एसेट क्वालिटी कितना इंप्रूव हो गया उस पे बात होती है. सो एक तो अंडर ओन था, ठीक है, वैल्यूएशंस वाइज भी काफी सेट था, तो उसकी वजह से देयर वाज अ वेरी गुड मूव इन द PSU बैंक्स. And even the others, like बीच में 2 दिन HDFC twins were doing really well. So there was news reports about that MSCI का जो पहले merge entity का rules था कि भाई दोनों को एक सेट में आना था, तो जो दोनों का मिलके जो वेटेड था MSCI में वो कम हो जाता. बट अभी ऐसा बात हो रहा है कि MSCI on the rules tweak that okay, now the merged entity can hold the more position in the index. So that's the reason वहाँ पे थोड़ा एक momentum built up हुआ था. So that's how Bank Nifty, even after making a 52-week high, it went to the all-time high, और वहाँ से भी अभी 1-8% ऊपर चल रहा है. So it's a very good setup as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned. Over here also 2150 DMA सारे ऊपर की ओर ट्रेड कर रहे हैं. And in fact, the Bank Nifty is more than 5% above its 50 DMA and 2.7% above its 21 DMA. So overall, that's a good setup in the banking stocks. So if you look at the autos, so they did really well. I think इसके पहले वाला जो रैली का फेज था उसमें काफी मोमेंटम था ऑटो में. And then there was this strong consolidation. अब ये वाला tight region formation था almost. I'm not saying that it's a perfect tight region according to O'Neill's definition, but हाँ, एक narrow range में काफी time trade किया. If you can see from the August to almost till the October when it reached its 50 DMA, ठीक है, यहाँ पे ये 50 DMA ब्रीच कर दिया था. तब तक आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट 2 महीने के लिए एक रेंज बाउंड ट्रेड गया ऑटोज में. फिर 50 DMA ब्रीच होने के बाद भी एक रेंज में ही ट्रेड किया. And now it is above 50 DMA and now trying to take support near 50 DMA. I think today's candle is not updated over here. So today also the Nifty auto was the top loser, more than 1% loss. Tata Motors down था. कल थोड़ा न्यूज था JLR का CEO चेंज का, ठीक है. But overall, the order book is good. I think today also Tata Motor got a 1,000 buses ordered from the Haryana the road transport from the government sector. And even the other auto stocks, the demand is very good. Ancillaries में भी अगर देखें, auto ancillaries के भी numbers बहुत अच्छे आ रहे हैं. सारे जो ऑटो का डिमांड है, और जो वो चिप का इश्यू सॉर्टेज था लास्ट ईयर इस टाइम पे जब हम लोग स्टॉक दरबार करते थे, हर बार ऑटोज पे क्वेश्चन आते थे, और हर बार एक ये चीज तो होती ही थी डिस्कशन में कि भाई चिप शॉर्टेज इश्यू. तो दोस थिंग्स आर इम्प्रूविंग. अभी उतना चिप शॉर्टेज इश्यूज नहीं है, ठीक है. डिमांड तो पहले से था ऑटोज में. इफ यू गो फॉर गुड कार्स, ठीक है, और इवन द टू व्हीलर्स, so there is a huge waiting time. So capacity utilization is good, ठीक है. प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे थोड़ा इम्पैक्ट है मार्जिन पे due to raw material cost, but with the good demand they are able to pass it on to customers. So overall, auto sector is in a good shape. I think after a very good rally, it is going through the phase of consolidation, but you should be very, active with your technicals. क्योंकि अगर 50 DMA के नीचे ऑटो सेक्टर आता है, स्टॉक्स 50 DMA को ब्रीच करते हैं, then that's not a good sign. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's start with your questions, and in between, whenever we see that there is some accumulation of question from a particular sector, then we will discuss it. Because if I take a sectorial, journey, then it might take a lot of time and your questions might get missed. So let's focus on your questions. So Mayuresh Joshi, our head of research, and Rajshekhar, my colleague, both are here in the room. So we'll try to answer as many questions as possible.
Thanks, Rishit, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Very good afternoon. Welcome to Stock Durbar. My name is Rajshekar Kongari. I'll be taking few queries now. First, I'll start with a few queries related to our product and our methodology. Uh, Many of these viewers here are asking about why we have started adding stocks even though the market status was not moved to confirmed uptrend. That's a very good question, actually. Uh, Even though market status was changed on Friday, that is this last Friday, uh, if I'm not November 11th, I think. Uh, Prior to that, we have added a few stocks to our model portfolio. The major reason is that if you see the highlighted portions here, previous rally high was around 18,096 level, and during this current up move, Nifty closed above this previous rally high. Hence, we have turned on the buy switch. Even though the market was still in rally attempt and waiting for a follow through day, we have this. There is a some according to O'Neill rules itself. When the market closes above previous rally high, you can start adding stocks to model portfolio. We have gone by the rules of the book. We have not taken any side roads here. We have followed rules 100%, and that is the reason we have started adding stocks to model portfolio. Mainly because the Nifty closed above previous rally high, and just as soon as we started adding stocks within the couple of sessions, Nifty gave a follow through day. That again signifying that market is in good up move and a good amount of buying happening in the market. Broader markets were also doing well, so our conviction about adding stocks worked out well. So that is the reason we have started adding stocks. And after a follow through day, we have changed the market status to confirmed uptrend. Since then, again, we started adding stocks to portfolio. Sorry, Rajesh, we have given this explanation in our emailers, both evening and morning emails in our morning and evening mailers about the same rule. If you have not looked at the mails, I'm sorry, but we have tried to pass on the information to our clients as well.
So, Rachika, just a minute. So, hi Rajesh, hi Ranjit. I mean, I was seeing a lot on the chat as well about uh, this being a very stupid explanation and all that stuff. See, two things. One, I think you should go and read the book first on how to make money in stocks, right? Secondly, I think on all our learning articles, if you are a CanSlim follower, we have put numerous learning articles in the past as well. Please have a look through that. Clearly mentioned that earlier rally highs, if taken out, should be considered as a buying opportunity, right? And that creates an upgrade in the market. This is just the Nifty. If you probably look at the Sensex, that happened a few days before that. So I think the all-time highs were taken a few days before that on the Sensex itself. So every time we've said that there has to be three methodologies, right, to be followed. One, you talk about the index level when you're generally looking at the market in terms of the market direction on the M factor. The second is how individual sectors are playing out. And third, and the most important part is how individual stocks within those sectors are playing out. And therefore, paying attention to all these three in sync become extremely important in terms of understanding and analyzing our move in the market as well, right? The second angle is that whenever our buy watch list and sell watch list is updated, please have a look through that. We are very, very clear in terms of our rules of an 8% stop loss. And yes, I do agree that if the market probably gaps down or gaps up, it becomes a little bit more difficult. And therefore, even in our additions, we have made it very, very clear, right? We add stocks during a day. There is a high possibility that we can also add stocks at the end of the day also, right? But we really don't want to do that because it really does not make sense in terms of individual clients and our patrons probably adding on to the stock. The second element is that you please have a look through in terms of our buy and sell watch list. We edit and update that almost on a daily basis. What has happened in the last few days, right? Trading sessions, the main index has not gone anywhere, right? It's just gyrating in a very, very tight range. Even on today's expiry, it just closed 40-50 points down on the Nifty. Mid caps is where I think the hammering is happening. and nothing is probably happening. A lot of breakouts are just stagnated and volumes have actually come off significantly. So I think in this scenario, I think the most ideal thing, as we always say in CanSlim, is that we focus on very, very strong fundamentals where earnings growth is very, very strong, and technicals give us the entry points, is how our methodology always is, right? And therefore, following this methodology with a rule-based approach makes absolute sense in markets like these. Even in the past, when the markets were volatile and sideways and we had moved out, I'd always mentioned that you should probably look at stocks within our filtered ranges, where a lot of discussion happened on IBD, and a lot of our users in MarketSmith US as well, that track these two filters. One, new high in RS line after a 4-year decline, and breakout stocks showing the maximum EPS and RS ratings as well. Second element is results. So result season was very, very heavy this time around, and results were flowing in thick and fast. Now you cannot preempt results, and we've always said that 7 working days before the results, no actionable has to be taken. So the limitations, we were also binded by limitations in terms of our rules, which we follow to the T, in terms of all aspects on certain elements, and we do not want to preempt or want to judge what kind of results might come through, right? Last but not the least, obviously, I think you should be one should be very, very clear in terms of following these rules. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of sectoral churn that is happening into the markets. We've actually looked at banks performing exceedingly well, stagnating at this point of time. You've seen a lot of these paper companies, hotel companies do well. A lot of these defense stocks do well. But unfortunately, I think there will be sectoral churn, which is very, very evident right now. You've seen a lot of bearing stocks in action today, right? The team has updated a few of the bearing companies right now in terms of momentum that might happen in these stories. And we do regularly come out and publish anything that we've got both in our morning and evening notes. So my sincere request to all you guys is, please follow the notes, please follow the mailers, please follow the buy and sell watch lists. It makes life a little bit more easier. The second element is that we've obviously got a lot more in terms of our app, in terms of our CanSlim methodologies. We've uploaded a couple of programs. Level 1 is basically the basic one, and level 2 is the more advanced version on what we do at O'Neill. So any new users here, please go through that first, because that will give you far more clarity in terms of me speaking at this point of time. Yes, I agree. I think 197 components, such as book. So sectoral analysis is obviously there, but we do a lot of tracking internally as well, right? The internal tracking is based on the mechanism in terms of how individual sectors are placed, both from an EPS RS rating, and we've got the distribution day count in terms of each sector as well. So I think on a weekly mailer, if you look at a Friday mailer, you'll get an entire list that are probably coming through. Yeah. So thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing. We will go through your stock queries with Raj Rushet, and obviously I'm there on the call as well. Raj, you can continue.
Thanks, Myresh, for the explanation. There is one more query related to our product, that is percentage allocation to stocks in model portfolio. Again, for the benefit of everyone, according to our methodology, we theoretically try to allocate equal proportion of capital to all the stocks. However, in practical, there might be some weightage difference might happen on the user's end, but try to make a case such that you allocate equal capital to each stock, so that our returns will not be similar to your returns. There won't be any discrepancy in returns when you compare your return with our MSA return. Because on paper we give equal returns to all the equal allocation to all the stocks. So whenever we are calculating daily return, that is a rule we follow. That is the reason there are some queries related to discrepancies when we compare MSA return with the user's return. There is some difference, but yeah, I know it's in practical, it's very difficult to allocate equal capital, but try to make a case such that you have equal proportion of money invested in all the stocks.
So just to add to Raj Shekhar's point, my own sense is that ideally we don't go in for more additions on exceeding anywhere between 12 and 15, right? So 100 rupees divided by mota moti, आप 10-12 stock ले लो, so 7 to 8%. I think even mutual funds to a large extent don't, or even PMSs don't have a single stock exposure of more than 10%. So the ideal way of looking at this is, even if you say equal proportions, say divide that between 12 and 15, so anywhere between 7 and 8% in terms of allocation. That's how I put it.
Okay, I think we are done with product queries. Now we can move on to stock specific queries. Already lots of queries have come. Let me look at a few stocks. I have seen RVNL stock which has been asked by a couple of users. That is Rail Vikas. The stock has very good ratings. If you see here, the EPS, RS, both the techno fundamental ratings are very good. The stock has formed a long stage 3 consolidation base. It has given a very good breakout as well, and it has hit the power to pivot as well. Everything was looking very good about this stock, but today there is some kind of profit booking. It is not a major sell-off. We can see stock has fallen 4%. Volume is also on the higher end, but for the last recent sessions as well, volume has been above average. So today's volume is comparatively lower when compared to previous 2 sessions. So it's not a major sell-off happening in the stock. You can consider today's session as a slight profit booking happening because the stock has moved so much. You can see from 32 rupees, it has advanced to 64 rupees. So almost doubled within 1 month or 40 trading session. So these kind of movements will definitely happen. 3% down move on volume higher than above average. But if you are invested in this particular stock, you can continue to hold it. You might have made a good amount of money as well. However, if you are not wanting to take risk, if you want to be on the safe side, you can sell off a few positions in this particular stock, and you can continue to hold the remaining positions. I'll take ABC Capital, recent query. Aditya Birla Capital. Gopal has asked about Aditya Birla Capital. The stock has not formed any base pattern. On the fundamental side, the stock is looking very good. EPS of 87. It's indicating a strong earnings profile coming to the stock. Technically, RS rating is slightly not so outperforming when compared to the general market. Still, the current stock is 10% off-wise, whereas the Sensex hitting all-time highs, and financial services, that is Nifty Bank, has also hit all-time highs. This stock is definitely underperforming when compared to its competitors. There is no major base pattern as well. There is no clear momentum in this particular stock. If you are looking for a fresh entry, definitely there are lots of other opportunities which are giving good breakouts, or which are very outperforming the majority of the stocks in their sector. So this is definitely not a leader. This is not a laggard as well, but in this kind of markets, it definitely you should go with the leaders, because they will definitely outperform the market, and it will give good amount of returns for your investment.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. You can take Patanjali. So yes, there has been a heavy sell-off in the last few sessions. So there is a continuous selling in the stock. So the EPS this time is down. But overall, if you see over here, it had formed a, let me take you to the weekly base. So yeah, the explanation is clear. So yes, after this, that Ruchi Soya and Patanjali thing, there was a strong rally at this point of time. And since there, the stock is consolidating, if you can see in this area. And recently it had formed the stage 2 consolidation base, right, over here. And so see, there are a lot of changes in the oil prices, if you can see in the last 1 year, and these guys were not able to manage the margins well. So overall, if you can see, the technicals were quite good till the time it breaches 50 DMA. So यहाँ पे एक बार जब stock ने 21 और 50 DMA breach कर दिया, and the 21 DMA started moving lower, and I think now the 50 DMA is also moving sideways, and if we don't see some rebound, then it might also start move lower. And you can see the volume is also higher. The volume is decent whenever there is a selling happening. And one thing which I didn't like about these last selling personally is the closing. अभी सबका ये 6 सेशन है, उसका क्लोजिंग देखो, एक को छोड़ के सबका क्लोजिंग डे लो पे हुआ है, ठीक है. So whenever you are observing a chart, this is one thing that you should look at. If you are new to the chart, those who are old, they might be knowing the things that the closing, if you are closing in the lower quartile of the day's range, then that's something not good. And even अगर स्टॉक नीचे जा रहा है, बट यू सी दैट एवरी टाइम द क्लोजिंग वो ऊपर के क्वार्टाइल में होता है, ऊपर के हाफ में होता है, ठीक है, देन दैट इज समथिंग पॉजिटिव. यू शुड मार्क दैट जब भी ये रिवर्स होगा, देन देयर इज अ हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट द रिटर्न विल बी हायर. बट यस गाइस, वन लर्निंग, इफ यू आर न्यू, दैट क्लोजिंग का ऑब्जर्व करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और यहाँ पे डेज लो पे ही क्लोज हो रहा है, ठीक है. सो ideally not a good time to buy according to O'Neill methodology. The next level of support over here comes is the 200 DMA, the black line over here. RS line bhi gir raha hai. So just like if you are holding the stock, then if you want to continue to hold, then the next level is 200 DMA becomes crucial. On the flip side, to move on the higher side, जो ये breakout का point है, ठीक है, वो और 50 DMA ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर लेवल पे है. सो व्हेनेवर द स्टॉक रिक्लेम्स द 50 DMA ऑन अ हायर वॉल्यूम एंड री-ब्रेक्स आउट फ्रॉम द बेस, then that becomes the ideal buy zone for the stock according to O'Neill methodology. But yes, one thing over here, it's important. जब भी ये 50 DMA breach होता है, 21 DMA breach होता है, that is the point according to O'Neill कि वहां पे एटलीस्ट आप पार्शियल प्रॉफिट बुकिंग कर लो. 21 DMA ब्रीच पे 50 पे थोड़ा और कर लो, और अगर वहां पे भी नीचे जा रहा है, सस्टेन नहीं हो रहा है, देन आइडियली द प्रॉफिट बुकिंग शुड बी ऑन द हायर साइड. Okay, next we have GMM. Okay. Yeah, so this stock is forming a stage 2 consolidation base. So overall, that's a very good story, but some earnings missed in last few quarters. Otherwise, the number of fund holdings, if you can see, that has increased well. So let's go to the bigger picture. So yes. So yeah, you can see over here also December 21, the fund holders were 95, now it's 107, right? The fund holding by the management is good. The estimates, the earning estimates are quite decent for this company, right? So यहाँ पे अगर base structure का formation, if you see, so over here it had formed the stage 1 double bottom base, ठीक है, एक false breakout दिया था यहाँ पे, ठीक है, जो fail हो गया in the next couple of sessions only, and then again it found support near 21 DMA, so this green line. So that's what I discussed in the last. And also that 21 DMA and 50 DMA becomes important in these kind of stocks. So 21 पे rebound होके re-breakout किया, and this was the re-breakout point, and then gave a very strong return. Now after that, since last 2 months, it is forming a stage 2 base, and this is the consolidation base. And yes, if you can see over here, जब base बना रहा है ना, तब भी ये 50 DMA पे support लिया है. So this is something positive about the base. Other thing you should look for whenever there is a base formation is just a second, is the volume dry. See over here you can see जो bottom बना था ना, base का जब भी bottom बनता है वहां पे अगर volume dry up होता है, so this is another learning for the chart. Whenever you see that volume is getting dried up और वहां पे एक base बन जाता है bottom का, then that is a +1 for that chart. So you can mark this as something very positive about this chart, क्योंकि यहाँ पे एक phase खत्म हो गया है, ठीक है, base का. अभी वो राइट साइड ऑफ द बेस जब बना रहा है, सो वहां पे वॉल्यूम बढ़ रहा है, ठीक है, ऊपर जाने में. सो कल भी डे हाई पे क्लोज हुआ एंड द वॉल्यूम वाज ऑन द हायर साइड. So now you want this stock to move higher, और जब भी ये ब्रेकआउट होता है, so these things are something very positive about the stock. एक तो 50 DMA पे 2-3 दिन थोड़ा ब्रीच हुआ, बट वॉल्यूम लो था. बट हाँ, वहां से फिर से हाई वॉल्यूम पे 50 DMA रिक्लेम कर लिया, एंड नाउ इट इज trying to form complete the right side of the base. So these kind of stocks can be part of your watch list. And whenever there is a clean breakout on higher volume, so that's where you can consider these kind of stocks in a ideal buy zone.
Thanks, Rashid. I'll take a couple of queries now.
Okay.
Yeah, we have been getting some queries from YouTube Live as well. It's better we reply to them as well. AU Bank, that is AU Small Finance Bank. This session is live streamed on YouTube as well, so there are viewers there listening to us as well. So they have been asking a few questions. This question is from YouTube space. The stock is related to queries related to AU Bank. The stock is currently forming a stage 2 consolidation base pattern. It's a very good company. Fundamentally, there is no doubt about it. Fundamental strength, EPS strength of 93 indicates a good earnings profile. If you look at the quarterly earnings, you'll get the picture about this company. In the last 3 quarters, you can see the company has reported 30 to 40% sales growth on each quarter, and 30 to 100% growth on EPS. That is significant growth which is happening in this particular company. But on the technical front, the stock is not doing good. If you see, price strength is showing the same. Price strength of 38 indicates definite underperformance of this stock when compared to the general market. On one side, market is near all-time highs, but this stock is down around 16% from its highs. So again, definitely a clear underperformer. Currently, the stock is trading very close towards its moving averages. All its moving averages, 50, 100, 200 DMAs are very close. This is because the stock has not moved much in the last 1 year. The moving averages are also converging. If you are looking for a fresh entry, even though the fundamental rating is very good, because fundamentals do not change often, only the technicals are good indicators on the leading. If you're looking for leading indicators, definitely you should go for technical indicators. Always look for a strong company, and wait for the technical indication to buy or sell. That is the rule we follow at canceling at our MarketSmith India. So currently, technically, the stock is now in a not tradable zone. If you are holding this stock, you can consider exiting, because the stock is breaching its key moving averages as well. Looking for a fresh entry, definitely now is not the time. 10% from here, the stock will break out. By the time RS line will also improve. If the market dynamics do not change much in those 10% of move, definitely the stock will come under radar again. I'll take a KEI again. The stock has been under our discussion in our team as well. The stock is currently trading in its ideal buy zone. Only thing is that the stock is breaking out from its stage 4 flat base. Most of the parameters are looking very good. Fundamental rating of 92 is very good. RS rating is also 78, not so bad. It is also considered fair enough for addition. Buyer demand is also good at B+. Number of funds have also increased in the last quarter. The company has been reporting good set of numbers in the last 4 to 5 quarters. If you see, numbers have been growing in double digit to higher double digits, which is significantly higher. But considering the late stage base breakout, the market structure is also not so highly convincible for adding risky stocks. The macroeconomic factors are not looking good at the current moment. Geopolitical tensions, inflation being on the higher side, central banks increasing interest rates. Definitely, the market is not so convincingly good at this particular point. So it's better to avoid stocks like these in this particular kind of market because the risk reward is not so good to add these kind of stocks in this market. However, if you have this stock in your portfolio, you can consider holding it and keep a stop loss around 50 DMA, that is 6 to 7% from the current market price.
Thanks, Raj. So there is a query on Mtar Technologies. So yeah, guys, the stock is forming a stage 2 consolidation base, and I think the major part of the base is below 200 DMA, but not much sharp sell-off. And in fact, for the most part, it was holding the 250 DMA, the red line as well. But abhi wo 50 DMA ko breach kiya hai, and the stock is very close to its base low. The base low is somewhere around 515 to 530 zone. So ideally on the downside now, the first level to hold is that the base low, so 515 से 530 का है. Why it's the chances that it might hold is because the low volume. अभी लास्ट जो कुछ दिन से गिर रहा है तो वॉल्यूम लो है. बीच में यहाँ पे एक बार 200 DA में रिक्लेम किया था, थोड़ा मोमेंटम बना था, वॉल्यूम आया था, बट सेम डे वो वहां से गिर गया. उससे पहले भी कोई मेजर वॉल्यूम एक्शन यहाँ पे नहीं है. Just that the selling over here was on a bit higher volume, but otherwise the sector is forming well. One thing to note over here is the relative strength line is very poor, the RS is poor, so falling है. तो एक बार ऊपर जाना start होती है, and if there is a strong breakout, then the fundamental there is no major problem. The fund holdings are good, the results are coming well. Plus इनका जो business है, that's something very unique and good. वो एक niche precision engineering type इनका business है. 60-65% of revenue, if I'm not wrong, energy side, वो भी clean energy side से इनका आता है, which is a growing space. So that's a very good space. And जो defense sector है, वो भी इंडिया में मेक इन इंडिया की वजह से काफी आगे है. So defense space से भी इसका 15 to 20% revenue generate होता है. तो द क्लीन एनर्जी एंड डिफेंस स्पेस में जो इनका रेवेन्यू जनरेशन है, तो दोनों का ग्रोथ एस्पेक्ट्स काफी अच्छा है. सो अगर लॉन्ग टर्म स्टोरी की वाइज देखे, ठीक है, तो एमटार इज अ गुड स्टोरी लाइन. उनका जो बिजनेस है वो काफी अच्छा है. ऑर्डर बुक भी डिसेंट है इनका, वो भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इवन दी अदर फंडामेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स आर गुड. सो नीड सम गुड मोमेंटम इन द स्टॉक. कुछ नया ऑर्डर्स मिलता है, कुछ डेवलपमेंट और होते हैं, क्लीन एनर्जी साइड में उनका कुछ ग्रोथ दिखता है. So I think that point of time this stock can do really well. So but yes, for every story, for every good fundamental, what you need is a good technical. ठीक है, तो ये स्टोरी लाइन पे ये पूरा चल गया था, फंडामेंटल्स इंप्रूव हो रहे थे, एंड देन वंस यू सी दैट 50 DA में ब्रीच हो गया, निकल जाओ, वरना ये ऐसा हो सकता है ये सब एक्टिव स्टॉक्स में. तो लो लिक्विडिटी. ओवरऑल अगर देखे तो अभी भी मार्केट के 5000 करोड़ ही है. ठीक है, तो तभी थोड़ा सेल्स उनको बिल्टअप करना है, एक मार्केट उनको कवर करना है. एरिया इज गुड, राइट, बट जो वो ऑर्डर फ्लो रेवेन्यू प्लस प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी का में रिफ्लेक्ट जो होना चाहिए, दैट वंस दैट स्टार्ट हैपनिंग, देन यू कैन सी दैट दीज काइंड ऑफ स्टॉक स्टार्ट डिलीवरिंग. वन थिंग टू नोट ओवर हियर इज कि यहाँ पे एक टाइट एरिया बन रहा है वीकली चार्ट पे. So yeah, once it breaks out, then this is something very positive part as far as the base formation is concerned. But currently it is below the key moving averages, and not a good time to go for this stock according to O'Neill methodology. And next we can take a lot of queries over here.
So we can take Rushit, Vindhya, Telelinks and Action Construction.
Sure.
And Dawat.
Okay. So Vindhya, Telelink,
correct.
So it's a small cap stock. Even after such a good move, the market cap is still less than 2000 crore. The earning consistency is not the best as far as the Vindhya Telelink is concerned. Today, it gave a breakout from stage 3B stage, ब्रेकआउट का वॉल्यूम काफी हाई था, but yes, the RS is also improved, as especially after the today's move. There is a sharp uptick in the relative strength line. इसका EPS अगर रेटिंग देखे तो काफी पुअर है, एज आई टोल्ड कि इतना कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है इसका अर्निंग्स, ठीक है। और इवन द रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ, अगर रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ भी देखे तो ये क्वार्टर में अच्छा था, बट पहले के अगर आप क्वार्टर्स देखे, ठीक है, तो ये बहुत इनकंसिस्टेंट है। एक दो क्वार्टर अच्छा देता है, फिर 3-4 क्वार्टर तक दोनों अर्निंग्स और रेवेन्यू दोनों फॉल होते हैं। सो consistency is not there in the stock. Okay, plus let's also check the checklist. It is past 6 सर्विलियंस में कुछ है नहीं, अभी तो सर्विलियंस में नहीं है, वरना ये स्टॉक आई थिंक सर्विलियंस में भी काफी आ जाता है. So that also is a very tricky part. But yes, today it has given a good breakout from the stage 3 on the daily chart. If you can see over here, it's a stage 3B flat base pattern. And yes, the stock is trading in its ideal buy zone. So yeah, overall setup is quite good for the stock. But a couple of things that I told to note is the stock might be volatile, थोड़ा EPS poor है, और जो earnings consistency है, that is not there. If you look at the ACE, as a disclaimer, this is the part of our model portfolio. So see, this engineering industry, ठीक है, और construction related जो भी engineering है, इनका जो machines है सारे, so that is doing quite well in India because of the higher infrastructure spend in the country, even the budget plan of a very high infrastructure spend, and that might continue. ऐसा नहीं है कि छोटा सा होगा, but capex cycle improve हो रहा है, private में भी government capex भी improve हो रहा है, और infrastructure plans आए हैं. So Action Construction being a very good player in this space is benefiting. So it has recently break out from a stage 1B consolidation base, and we had added this stock on the breakout. So it has a very good rating. So the EPS देखो 90, price strength of 81, buyer demand is good. The group rank has improved significantly and it's now at 19. Even if you look at the other parameters for the ACE, fund holdings देखिए, fund holdings काफी improve हो गया है, ठीक है, more than 33% increase in the last quarter. And yes, overall also, if you can see, the industry dynamic is quite well for the stock, and currently it is trading in its ideal buy zone. थोड़ा breakout के बाद choppy हो गया है, एक range में trade कर रहा है. But if you see the volume, so this is where I'm still confident on this stock. Breakout पे अब high volume था, अभी जिस दिन एक दिन काफी एक नया high बनाया 52 week high, उस दिन भी volume काफी high था. अभी 2 दिन से stock गिरा है, आज consolidate हुआ है छोटे range में, तो volume इतना high नहीं है, ठीक है. इवन ड्यूरिंग द बेस 50 DA में ब्रीच नहीं किया. पहले तो ये रेड लाइन अगर आपको दिखता है, तो दिस रेड लाइन इज द 50 DA में, एंड इवन ड्यूरिंग द बेस फॉर्मेशन द स्टॉक इज नॉट ब्रीच द 50 DA में, एंड दैट इज अ एलिमेंट ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ. सो दैट इज व्हाट you need to look for. See guys, there are a lot of these kind of things in the chart formation that needs to be looked, and we do that. We do conduct the webinars. I think we have a level 2 webinar, which me, Mayuresh, our head of research, the Rajshekhar, Vakar, हम लोग 4-5-6 घंटे तक पूरा वो explain करते हैं turn by turn, and the whole Saturday, if you can dedicate, then only that's for you, because we discuss a lot of things in detail about that, and sometimes I try to take few things out of that and discuss with you. But yes, for detailed explanation on these kind of chart readings and all, you have to join that webinar. So there's also a basic webinar available. So that's not a problem. But yes, as far as the AC is concerned, the volume price action, not a problem. RS line new high पे है, अगर blue dot भी आ रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है. अभी volume action low है 3 दिन से. So let's see how it goes. First level of support over here can be the pivot, that is 319.8. The second level of support will be the 21 DMA, and then the 50 DMA is a very strong support, or 50 DMA का line ऊपर जा रहा है, and if market doesn't place well and यहाँ पे अगर selling आता है, so 50 DMA breach is the point where we might exit the stock. And yes, again a disclaimer that this is the part of a model portfolio. So now we take Dawat, LT Food. अभी सो यहाँ पे ब्रेकआउट हुआ था स्टेज 2 बेस से, डबल बॉटम का बेस बना था, वहां से एक पहले कंसोलिडेशन हुआ था 1-2 महीने तक, एंड देन देयर वाज अ वेरी स्ट्रांग मोमेंटम इन द स्टॉक एंड इट मेड अ फ्रेश हाई ओवर हियर of 135, but since then there is some selling pressure in the stock. So yesterday it breached 50 DMA, red line breach kar gaya, and which is 50 DMA. Even the relative strength is falling. Major concern is the buyer demand. Buyer demand थोड़ा कम हो गया है, C plus का है, and see over here the stock has breached 50 DMA. But what, look at the good thing. अगर Wednesday को breach किया तो volume देखिए, it was even not less than half of the average daily volume. So that's a very low volume breach. Even जब ये पूरा fall हुआ है, ठीक है, तब volume काफी low है. And so that's something positive to mark about the stock. और जब ये ऊपर जा रहा था, यहाँ पे एक decent volume पे ऊपर गया, and then it went through some consolidation over here. Now it has breached 50 DMA. So ideally अगर volume आ जाता है 50 DMA के नीचे, then according to O'Neill that's the time you should book profit or cut losses. ठीक है. On the flip side, एक बार 50 DMA low volume पे breach करने के बाद, if the stock reclaims the 50 DMA on a higher volume, then that gives you an alternate buy point. So breakout होने के बाद जब भी ये 50 DMA पे आता है या थोड़ा सा 1-2% का ब्रीच होता है छोटा सा, ठीक है, then that is fine. जब वहां से वो हाई वॉल्यूम पे भागता है ना, देन दिस गिव्स यू अल्टरनेट बाय पॉइंट. तो अगर यहाँ से दावत एलटी फूड 50 और 21 डीएमए को हाई वॉल्यूम पे रिक्लेम करता है, देन अकॉर्डिंग टू ओनिल मेथोडोलॉजी दैट गिव्स यू एन एड ऑन बाय पॉइंट, और यू कैन से द अल्टरनेट बाय पॉइंट. So that's one more learning for the O'Neill charts. Okay, next.
Now, Rashid, I'll take a few queries now. I think we are near the end of this session. I'll take a DMart and Tube Investments. DMart, that is Avenue Supermarts. Since listing, the stock has done tremendously good. It has been a very good wealth creator for lots of investors who have taken position. If you see, this is a monthly chart. See the amounts of returns the stock has given. It is one of the greatest wealth creators in India, apart from other companies which have been in the news. Off late, that is recently, last 1 year, the stock has moving sideways, and it is also slightly coming off highs. After hitting 5900, the stock has been under selling pressure, and lots of profit booking is also happening. If you look at the close action in the last 2 to 3 weeks, again new trend of selling has come. Consistently the stock has been under selling pressure. The stock has been falling nearly 1%, 2% on each day. Stock has breached its key moving averages in the process as well. 200 DMA, which has been a good support for this stock in the past, has been breached as well. That is not a good sign. For a fundamentally strong stock, technical should also support that claim of a fundamentally strong company. But in this case, in the last few years, the stock has found good fundamentals. That is, it has reported a good set of numbers, and it was backed by the price action as well. But recently, even though the company has done well on the earnings front, the market is not rejoicing the earnings, and that is the reason technicals have been come off recently. You can see EPS is of 97, indicating good rating about the fundamental character, because the company has been able to report good set of numbers still in these times as well. But on the technical front, the stock is not doing good. It has been a underperformer. Currently, the stock is at nearly 24-25% off highs, which is not a good sign. When the market is moving upwards, the stock is going in the reverse direction, which is not a good sign. If you are holding positions in this particular stock, definitely consider exiting them, and look out for stocks which are in line with the market direction, which are leading the market direction. always invest in stocks which are leading the market, not in the laggards which are dragging the market. There is no clear support for this stock going forward. There might be some kind of support at 3,300, 3,200 levels, but that is still 600 points from here. So your capital might erode if you are waiting for that kind of support. Next, I'll go with Tube investments. It's one of the good CanSlim stock because it has been under radar. It has been having good set of ratings. The EPS of 99 indicates a very good company on the fundamental front. If you look at the earnings closely, the sales have been growing at a higher double digit, 30 to 40, 50% in the last 4 to 5 quarters. EPS has also been growing at double digits, which is a good sign of a growing company. Technicals are also supporting the claim here. Like if you see price strength is at 81, this is because the stock has been moving higher. But if you look at last 10 days action, the stock has breached its 50 DMA, and the volume is also on the higher side. That is some sign of concern. But if you have taken position at the breakout, that is in July, even though we have in July, the stock has given a 20 to 30% move, even though it moved some zigzag manner, but it never breached its 50 DMA. If you look at the chart, but recently, that is on Thursday last week, the stock breached its 50 DMA and higher volume. So that might be a good selling point if you are having this stock in your portfolio. If you continue to have this stock, then you can keep the recent low, that is Tuesday's candle low around 2480 levels as stop loss, and continue to hold it until then. Fresh entry is not advised at this moment because it is extended from its pivot around 26%. We want the stock to consolidate from here for the couple of 4 to 5 weeks. Until then, we'll be staying silent.
We can take Timken, Rajshekar. There were a few queries on Timken.
Yeah.
I know, guys, there are a lot of queries coming in. Raj and Rishit are trying to answer that. I'm also trying to scan through. Anything we miss, you just mail it to us. No? We'll try and get back to you in terms of answers. So they're bound by time. That's the whole thing. Thank you.
Yes. Timken has been asked by a couple of users here. Mostly because today's action has been very strong. In the last half an hour, if you see the chart, the stock hit its upper circuit. That is the reason no trading has happened in the last half an hour. Even though the stock closed slightly above its pivot, but the stock closed on the upper circuit. So we try to stay away from stocks which are logged in upper circuit, because as soon as the circuit is opened, you never know on which direction the stock might open. Suddenly it might gap down 4 to 5% and giving a huge loss for our investors. So we are having this stock under radar definitely because the stock is standing pretty good on O'Neill ratings. Both the fundamentals and technicals are looking good. Today's action is also very strong. The volume has also been very good. Tomorrow, definitely, if the stock opens in the buy range, we'll definitely consider and we'll look at the volume action as well. Overall market dynamics, if the stock opens good and market is also looking good and the volume comes in, definitely we might add it to portfolio. But today, the reason is that because the stock logged in upper circuit, and that is the reason, major reason why we have not added to portfolio. But on the O'Neill front, this stock is looking very good. If you are holding this in your portfolio, definitely you can consider holding for a couple of sessions. You'll get a clear picture where the stock is going, whether on the higher side or on the lower side.
So, guys, just to add to this, I think bearing stocks generally in terms of the entire capital goods space have suddenly emerged as some good stories in terms of momentum. So Timken obviously is one of them. You've got SKF. We've added that to our buy watch list. Let's see how the price action goes tomorrow. There's also Schaeffler. There is a huge story building around this because the entire market is expected to double in the next 4 years. So from 1.8 billion to almost 3.6 billion. And bearings are used everywhere. So a lot of orders expected in terms of Vande Bharat, Shatabdi, lot of train launches, lot of wagons for metro coaches. All the hydrogen plants will require bearings. Defense, a few of the defense projects require bearings. A lot of EV vehicles need critical bearings for their entire assembly kit as well. So very interesting space within the entire capital goods space, stroke infrastructure space. So I have a watch on that as well. Somebody asked about paper stocks. I don't remember. I think I scrolled down a bit as well. Paper stocks also very interesting because all numbers have been fabulous. I mean, you take any paper stock, whether it's JK, it's West Coast, Andhra, Sheshashai, have reported brilliant set of numbers, not just QOQ, Y and Y. So I think the EPS rating for a few of these paper stocks are extremely good, along with the RA strength as well. So we have to keep that in mind, but we have to also observe that it has to go through the pivot, right, or come close to the pivot as well. So what Raj, Rushit are time and again saying that you look at volumes at the time of breakout, have a monitoring in terms of the blue dot list. How is the RS line shaping up? Is it consolidating? Is it heading downwards? Is it heading upwards? In terms of the pattern being formed, now, in typical case on what Raj is probably shown on the Ruchis is showing on West Coast, right? A cup with handle. When it is forming an handle, are volumes coming off or volumes are not coming off when the handle is being formed? Because that is the maximum time when supply gets exhausted. And when demand will come back, volumes will start increasing. And at the breakout, when it comes close to the pivot, volumes will spurt. And therefore, you should be having all these elements of learning that we are trying to probably continue that is take it away with that as well. The second thing also is that when a cup formation happens, so you can go to a stock called Fiem Industries just as an example, right? Huge, I mean, the numbers were fabulous, no two ways about it. But a huge move in day before yesterday's session. It was there on our watch list. We never really got a chance because it moved about the pivot. Now, why do we always say that do not buy extended stocks? That is the reason. Now you go to that blue line, Rushit, and see that blue line. If you would have got into the blue line, right? Because I clearly remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Rushit, it gapped up only 4 or 5% and it traded above the pivot range a couple of days back or 3 days back when it gapped up on Monday. And therefore we said, let it come down. And if it pull back on lower volumes, that's a good sign near its 21 or a 50 DMA, because that's what we always maintain. That anything that takes any stock which takes support on low volumes on a pullback towards 50 DMA becomes a good opportunity in terms of a good pullback trade or the momentum continuing with a lot of weak hands probably exiting. Now look at what has happened with Fiem in the 3 days of time, right? If you would have got into the stock, said 6-7%, the stock at that day moved 13% higher. We would have probably rejoiced on Monday. But what happened on Tuesday, Wednesday? Is the stock came down and would have stopped out by our own rule itself, right, of 7-8%. Therefore, I think having these minute details in place, having these rules in place becomes very important. Why not to buy overextended stocks, so on and so forth. These markets also will give you a huge learning, right, in terms of failed breakouts. Have a look at that list as well, in terms of failed breakouts on our filter lists as well. As an example, again, say for a typical cup formation, because PM was a typical cup formation, right? And all parameters are probably met on the day of the breakout. It should be at least 40% more than the average volumes. And if you look at the volume bar on the day of the breakout, was 40% more, right? But sometimes what happens is that with such exaggerated moves that happen, there can be a chance of a pullback, and therefore not entering the stock. If you have entered at the lower end of the base at the beginning, if you are lucky enough, good enough, right? But if you have not done that, then it becomes very risky. Because there are chances that pullbacks might happen, and therefore monitoring even the failed breakout list gives us a very good learning curve. Looking at faulty bases. Now there are a lot of stocks which can come into the pivot area, guys. वो buy zone में आ जाते हैं वगैरह, but you do see whether that base is very loose. Is that base more than the extent and time period, or what William O'Neill has said, whether it's a cup or a cup with handle, so on and so forth. Is it a late stage base? We have always heard all of us saying that if it's a stage 4 and above, right, it becomes a little bit prone to risk when markets become very volatile at higher levels like they're doing right now. So ideally, stage 1, 2, to a certain extent, stage 3 can be probable candidates, but anything in stage 4 remains circumstantial. Therefore, JK paper as an example is in stage 4. So alternatives, you probably need to find out through the relative lists in that. West Coast paper, in my opinion, is a stage 2 or a stage 3. It's a stage 3, if I'm not mistaken. And therefore, where is the momentum shifting, right? Through the industry classifications that we've got. And within those respective sectors, what are these important parameters that you should be probably looking at? I think that becomes a very important and a defining moment in terms of the learning curve. I'm just going to tweet in some time. I think one of our users in the US tweets a lot on canceling. He has just tweeted an hour back. I just forgot to retweet that in terms of faulty basis or faulty charts, right? I'll just be tweeting that in the next 10 or minutes. It's a very important learning curve. When all of us, in my opinion, are learning, I am learning, the whole team is learning, all of you are learning as well. And we should continue doing that. But these small snippets is something that we should keep in mind and observe so that we become better investors over a longer period of time. With that, I think we'll take one last question in this. I'm not sure what we have missed. Maybe Varun Beverages is something that we can take, and then we can probably call it.
This has been an excellent story, excellent stock move, not impacted by the volatility of the last year. जो पिछले एक साल में निफ्टी 3 बार 18,000 के ऊपर गया, 3 बार 15-16,000 पे आया, but this stock is moving consistently. इसका जो earnings है, इसका revenue growth है, that has been consistent. तो इसका market share बढ़ रहा है, new product that Varun Beverages is coming up with, इनका जो market share बढ़ रहा है, so that's all has resulted into a very sharp and very good growth as far as the earnings are concerned, the revenue growth is concerned. And look at the number of fund holdings. That has excellent increase in the number of fund holdings. Let's check on the broader front as well. Yes, here you will get a very good idea. Okay. December 21 में 317 थे, वहां से 343, फिर 385, and now it's 491. So a lot of funds are coming up in the stock, and that's what is visible in the chart. यहाँ पे जब कप विथ हैंडल बेस बनाया, ठीक है, उसके बाद ये ब्रेकआउट हुआ तो फिर वो पीछे ही नहीं मुड़ा, एक भी बार चांस नहीं दिया कि न्यू बेस फॉर्मेशन हो and some notable correction. It never gave. What it did is during the journey was the 50 DMA. 50 DMA once, twice, thrice, 4-5 बार 50 DMA पे आया और वहां से फिर से अपना अप ट्रेंड रिज्यूम कर दिया. So this is what the kind of stock is. Now current setup, if you quickly look at, currently it has rebounded it from its 50 DMA, and that's good. So according to O'Neill, if someone is holding the stock, then the 50 DMA becomes very crucial to track. On the flip side, if the fresh entry needs to be taken, then you should be careful with the extension, because it has heavily extended from the base 70% above the pivot in last 6 to 8 months. So even if you must commit the capital in this stock, then be very careful with the stop loss. 21 DMA, 50 DMA ko trailing karke. So that is how you can, if your financial advisor goes for it, then that's how you can manage your position in that. But yes, for Varun Beverage, 50 DMA becomes very important. And अगर यहाँ पे एक बेस फॉर्म होता है और वहां से ब्रेकआउट होता है, then it becomes even more attractive to be the part of the portfolio. So some queries we might have missed. So let me take 2-3 quickly, okay, and then we close. If there is anything, then we go to the emails. So yes, Container Corp quickly.
Or Rushit, sorry to interrupt. इसके बाद एक HDFC ले ले, because that's been the best mover this week.
Yes, I started the discussion with HDFC Twins, and so
okay, you did that.
It with the same.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So yes, so if you look at the Container Corp, the stage 1B base, थोड़ा वहां से फिर से नीचे आ गया, ठीक है, बाई जोन में रहा, and then it is again trying to move, test its 50 DMA, 21 breach हो गया. So now the next level, on the downside, 50 DMA is important. On the higher side, the high of the base, the pivot level, that is 782, important. If you look at the Dixon technology, yes, it is forming a stage 1 flat base. ब्रेकआउट के बहुत करीब गया, बट ब्रेकआउट हो नहीं पाया, और आज 50 DMA के और 21 दोनों के नीचे आज close hua. Then there is a quick query how to identify stage 3 base. So yes, we will share a learning article about that base, or you can go to our learning article section and get a very good idea of how the bases are formed. So I started some discussion on HDFC, but we never discussed that chart. So now let's discuss that chart and close the session. So if you look at the HDFC Limited, the stock is 12% below the pivot. Even on the weekly chart, if you see, yes, this will give you a better idea. It had formed a very tight zone over here. So it's tough to see, but yes, if you can observe, there are some blue mark over here, the blue watermark types. Okay, तो वहाँ पे टाइट जोन बना था 200 DMA के आसपास, एंड वहाँ से एक अच्छा मूव आया HDFC में. And the one thing I already discussed about that MSCI thing and the inclusion of the combined entity and the separate entity things, and that's the reason ये वाला कैंडल है, ये वो वाला ही कैंडल है जब वो MSCI वाला न्यूज रिपोर्ट्स घूम रहा था. ठीक है, so yes, it is 12% to pivot. So ideally you should wait for the pivot in these stocks. बाकी 50 DMS और 200 DMS से काफी ऊपर है, and if you might have and taken entry if you are already holding the stock, for a long-term coffee can investor, there's no point on this discussion. But yes, 21 DMA, 50 DMA can be kept as a stop loss. And even the bank, a major reason for a good move in Bank Nifty recently is after that big move, this candle, if you can see, अभी ये यहाँ पे consolidate हो रहा है. So two things now you can look for is, firstly ये वाला जो high है, ठीक है, उस दिन का और ये yesterday का high उसके ऊपर निकलेगा, then there are chances it might test the pivot. So pivot is just 6% away, so there are chances that it might test the pivot. If it breaks out, then the other parameters are quite well. This can be the part of your watch list. Okay, no worries over here. But if not, then the low somewhere around here, that is the 1600 level, becomes very important, because below that it might again test the low of this bigger move, or you can say the 21 DMA. So that's how you can manage an HDFC and HDFC Bank from the O'Neill point of view. So thank you for joining the session, guys. I hope it was useful to you. You got some learnings, and if we have missed your queries, because there are a lot of queries, you can always email us, and we do take the queries on the random basis. So again, thank you for joining the session. So we'll meet again in this session. After the next week, we have a session with swing trading team, and then again it will be with MSI team. But if you want to be in regular contact with us, so every day we are live 2 times. First, 8:45 a.m. in the morning. So tomorrow at 8:45 a.m. Me or Rajshekhar will be live. Rajshekhar will be live at 8:45 a.m. tomorrow morning. And tomorrow evening at 4:30 again we will be live, and we'll be discussing about the action that happened today. And so in the morning session we generally discuss about the global market action, how the Nifty is set up for the day, some key news. We also discuss the stock of the day, and that's very interesting part, guys, the stock of the day. And the similar thing that we do in the evening session. So if possible, do try to join those sessions also. So Rucha, if you have links, you can just share with these guys over here.
Sure. Thanks, Ruchit. Thanks, Rajshekhar. So I think, guys, on top of that, Amit just asked a question. Amit, there is a entire module on canceling level 2 that is put on our app and our site. You can probably just subscribe to that and have a look at that. The second element also is that if anything you want to probably add out, right? I mean, there were a few queries on our support team and so on and so forth. Those guys are working really hard, guys. Trust you me, right? You're all working still out of remote locations. So they might miss something. But you've got mine, Rushit, Rajshekhar's, Vakar's mail ID on the research reports as well. Directly mail into us. Na? We are always here for you guys. So that's the entire bottom line that I wanted to put for. Yeah. Thanks for attending. Thank you so much. Rucha will probably just take it forward.
So guys, the link is there in the chat box. You can save the link. So every day we go with the similar link. So that won't be a problem. Just keep it saved. 8:45 a.m. in the morning and 4:30 in the evening session. So that's it for the evening. Thank you very much. Have a great day.